Welcome back to the Healing Wonders podcast, you guys. We hope you guys are having a beautiful, beautiful day filled with love and light and everything bright. Today, you guys, it's giving fall vibes. I'm obsessed with it. I got so cold. I had to put the sweater on, and thankfully Venus has these sweaters, and look how cute they are.
Oh yeah, look, they're Healing Wonders sweaters.
Yes, so
yeah,
she came in clutch with the sweater.
That's right, and I came up with the design in a series of 3 dreams. So you know how Spirit talks to you when you're asleep in your subconscious? So that's what I came up with. Maybe I'll stand up again. Ay, 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 there I am. And then maybe super Rosie cute. Will there she is.
Super cute.
Yeah, they're really cute.
And they're so warm, you guys. That's why I was so cold. We were about to start filming, but it's really cold up here. So I need a sweater. Do you got a sweater? And my homegirl had sweaters.
Yeah, I have these sweatshirts made up. I actually have black and purple ones too, but I think I may have given them all away or sold them all out, but no matter.
Yeah, we have these. They came in clutch.
Yeah, and we're cozy.
We're going to get started today, you guys. Today we're going to be talking about the distribution in the cannabis community and how distribution even works, how it's changed, and how it affects the small farmer. So we're going to go into little school of Venus today, and she's going to educate us on this topic. So let's get started. We're going to get litty lit, and she's going to entertain us with some new knowledge.
Hip hip hooray! Hi community.
Look, even the universe is excited. She's showing us, let's get into it.
Yes, absolutely. So distributors for small farmers is a straight up joke. It's completely not necessary. And when whomever was designing an infrastructure for cannabis, they only had large farms in mind. And here's the big, huge pink elephant in the center of the state of California. Number one, cannabis is not meant to grow by the acres and the acres and the acres, because should you get something wrong, like spider mites or a fungus, there's a fungus that it will rot your plant in heat, and it'll die with heat, and it'll just take your whole crop out. So if you have a smaller crop, then you're able to control and curtail any suspect problem. But this is off topic. The real topic is small farmers don't need distributors. So what a distributor does...
I was about to be like, what is a distributor?
Okay, yeah. So what a distributor does is they get a distribution license, and they have to go through a myriad of questions, and they got to be approved. And really, for California, it's all about the fucking money. The state of California just wants your distribution license money, and they want you to renew your license. So a distributor, it's his task to communicate with the farmer and to contract with the farmer, getting the farmer's product, and then that distributor takes it and puts $1 or $2 on it, and then distributes it out to a bunch of retailers. And unfortunately, the system is so damn corrupt that what's happening is, I've experienced this a couple of times now, and that is, a distributor gets a distributor's license, but then their friend wants to lease out the license. And so then the real distributor isn't the person showing up at the farm. And so really the real distributor is somewhere doing God knows what somewhere else, and he's getting X every month because he leased out his distro license. And then there's a scouter potentially, or whomever is in partnership with the real distributor will come to the farmer. They'll look at all your weed. They'll make up some crazy, I'll pay you back in 30 days. They take the weed, and then they don't pay anybody back in no damn 30 days. Mm-hmm. So for small farmers, I'm encouraging you to stand out on your own and make up your own system. And for me, my system is COD. Not so much as a joint leaves my ranches unless I have my money first. Because as you can see, if anybody has access to the internet, and you must because you're watching this, and that is there's folks bragging who were distributors and they also have a brand and they're not paying the farmer at all. Well, this can completely wipe out the small farmer. And that's why we have sprayed weed, why we have dried weed that's full of chlorophyll, that it's all advertised, come and get it before the next harvest, is this distributor thing is a hidden nightmare. And unfortunately, some distributors, when they make up their agreement with their farmer, have absolutely, positively no intention of ever paying you. And then some distributors say, okay, well, we're going to take your trim, for an example, complimentary puff. They take your trim, and then they're going to make oil out of it, and then they offer you pennies on the dollar for your trim after it's been tested. And then with the flour, this distributor will put their name on your product. And that's all well and good, and your product is selling out, but then the farmer never gets paid. And so I think that for a small farmer, there's also not a clause in the system for direct sales from the small farmer to the customer. And I'm saying, why can't we just wake up and anybody with 10,000 square foot grow or smaller can be considered a small farm, because that's what they are, a small farm, by the state of California standards, and they have the ability to completely sell all of their product on the internet or at farmers market, but directly to the customer. Because the other option is a distributor comes in and he has an agreement with the guy who's got 3 acres full of weed. Then he has an agreement with you. And so he's going to try to move the most of that weed for a lower price, but then you're going to get hit, because then your weed is just going to sit on the shelf for month after month. Then they're going to say, oh, we couldn't move your weed. Then you got to go back into Metric and get your product back. And by the time you get your product back, they're not keeping it in a controlled environment. They're not keeping it under 60 degrees, you know. And sometimes when you get your weed back, it's not even the same weed. So really, the cannabis industry doesn't need distributors. I'm sorry, distributor, that you can get in any other facet of the cannabis industry, but distributing is a waste of time because it forces the small farmer to take even a lower price on an agreement for something distributor never intends to pay you anyway.
So it's kind of like a little scheme thing that the
Yes,
big companies are doing.
Scam.
So like these big companies are trying to find small farmers. They promise them all this, like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy this, we're gonna do this, and then they just fuck them over.
Absolutely.
That's fucked up.
No, that's totally fucked up. And then sometimes they're not big companies, they're just distributors. You know what I mean? Who have their own label, and so they want to come up on your badass weed, but they don't want to pay you back. And then when they lease out their, when they lease out their distributor license, all you have to do is get an LLC, and then it's somewhat legal, and then you don't really know the distributor on the name of the license is nowhere close to the person that shows up at your ranch.
And that's like not something that people go in depth when like the distributor shows up to their ranch. Like they're not gonna be like, let me see your license. Are you really the person with the license? They just have like one mission on their mind is to move their product. So it's so easy for them to like.
Yeah, I think the small farmer to some degree is, especially if you're a legacy farmer, you're more apt to do things the new way, but have an old school way mentality. So you're more apt to try to test not really test, but trust. You're more apt to try to trust your distributor, thinking, okay, now I'm in this new system, and I'm going to go by this new system because it's going to guarantee me my money. And the only thing that's going to guarantee you your money is COD, Cannabis Family, collect on delivery. All this, the way they're doing it, because they kind of do the same thing with like fish and grapes, you know what I'm saying? You go to a distributor place, you drop off all your grapes or your fish or your crab, and then the distributor company pays you later, you know? But cannabis is a niche thing. And at no time ever before, when cannabis was illegal, was there ever, here, let's write a contract and I'll take 100 pounds of your weed, I'll pay you in 45 days. No, hell no. That's one of the reasons why the old system was so successful for years and years and years and years, even way before alcohol was even legal. Because when the buyer came, he came ready to make whole on whatever the agreement is, and then relationships aren't stressed out and relationships aren't tested. You don't have to worry about, do I need to trust this person or not? All that element is gone. It's a clean deal. And so the intention, I think, for a lot of legacy growers, when there wasn't distributors involved, was, I want everybody to walk away knowing and feeling, I want to do this again. But now that cannabis is legal and there's distributors involved, and it might not even be the real distributor. And here, what? Whoever is trying to commission you, it's usually only through your phone these days. And so never does anybody say, I'd like to come and meet you, and then I want to talk to you about what you have. It's all about, send me a video, send me social media, I'll send you a picture of my permits. So then you're thinking, okay, well, now that I got a picture of the permits, I'll know this person, and then it's matched up with their driver's license, and then it's matched up with the address. So all that looks good, but that's not who's fucking showing up. That's a way different person. And then by the time you get to know this person, oh, well, I'm leasing this guy's permit, or this guy's my partner and we're ex-friends. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, and that could be dangerous. I think the whole scenario of let me come to your ranch is a fallacy. What if people are private? What if people don't want just any random person coming to their ranch, but they're desperate for sales because the system is so unfair and so just a big, huge clusterfuck. And it's not anything that's actively working out, even for the greedy person. And even for the greedy lawmaker wanting to only benefit the acre or two grower, or the greenhouse person who's got 100 greenhouses. Clearly cannabis wasn't meant for that, or the universe wouldn't be showing truth all of a sudden on all these dishonest people trying to blow up overnight on big ass grows and big distributor companies. Boy, man, I'm telling you, the universe is responding to me. It's blowing a gale up here. I'm surprised I don't fly away like Mary Poppins, y'all.
The wind picked up
When I was talking about that, because I think the universe can hear me, and I think that we're in this porthole right now because the property's on the ley line, so it's closer to the spirit world. And I think that this whole distributor thing needs to be sort of called out because it's a joke, and then it makes the price of the weed even cheaper, and that's not necessary if you're a small farmer. You know what I mean? Come on, like California, what are we doing out there? There's huge facets of cannabis, and the system in which to grow it and sell it and cure it is completely overlooked, and only targeted was a system that worked for any other product, any other commodity that's ingestible. And that's just a huge fail.
I honestly didn't know that you can rent someone's distribution license, or
You can lease it out.
yeah, it is.
Anybody's out there trying to make a buck, and we all need our shekels, child. And everyone's trying to make their coin. And so if it ends up being too confusing, too combobulated, they may have a friend or a friend of a friend that's saying, hey man, can my friend for X every month pay you for your distribution license, and we'll lease it out from you. And then here what? We're already an LLC. We'll show you our documents.
The way they make it work, and they just
Yeah, they're making it work. They're moving things around in the system. They're somewhat legal, and I just don't think that there is the manpower to confirm all these distribution folks with licenses are who they say they are when the system is allowing these distributors to come to your ranch. And they even like to invite themselves. And I know real good legacy growers who've been in the business for 30 years like me. They don't want people up in their mix, man. They want to co-create with the universe and have a badass product. And we'll meet you down the pike somewhere. You don't need to come up in our mix and case the place, especially after you get here and we find out you're really not the real distributor. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you could be the coolest cat in the world and it could be some of the best relationships you foster. But, you know, with the label of distributor on it, it almost feels like you can work better with just a co-worker than having the label of a distributor. I met one distributor and I end up really, really liking him. He's really flexible and flowing. When I have under X amount ready to go or over X amount ready to go, he just flows with me. A lot of other distributorships are like, okay, you have to have so many pounds before we'll even come. They'll call you and they want your product, but they want so much product before they'll even come to your ranch and purchase off you. And they'll even purchase off you COD.
Uh-huh. But they don't give you a guarantee that they're going to take whatever they tell you to do, right?
Exactly. Not as advertised. And they want to take your stuff and take it somewhere else where you don't know where it's at and quarantine it off and put these tags on it for a definite maybe because it needs to be tested. Mm-hmm. And I just think that whole system's failing. Like, terribly failing. You know, there's these, in Europe, there's these little personal testers that each farmer can have. Mm-hmm. Right? So instead of giving the farmer plant tags, which is a fucking joke, and package tags, which are quasi necessary, I don't really have so much to say bad about that. Mm-hmm. But issue every farmer a fucking testing kit, man. A testing kit. I had wrote there's a thing, the DCC has like an advisory committee, right? And they invite certain farmers that are licensed to be on the advisory committee. Well, because I'm so busy with multitasking, sometimes I don't have time for that. But every now and again, when the spirit lifts me, I'll send off an email. And so I put together with the DCC and the email to the advisory committee, here's a cat from Europe, and he just now moved to LA, and all he does is provide these testing kits. And then you guys need testing kits because you're letting poisonous weed, you know what I mean, pretty much inundate probably 50% of all the weed that's sold in the state of California and that goes to other states. So why don't you connect this guy here, and all he does is produce them, and then all you need to do is buy them, and figure out an infrastructure where the minute the test is taken, it goes straight to the metric system or straight to the DCC, so the DCC knows, oh, okay, well, this farm is constantly producing clean weed, and this farm constantly has clean trim. Instead of make sure you have a plant tag around every plant that can get knocked over, that can die, that can have bugs. You know what I mean? It's like a complete waste of money when, if it's such a problem with poison weed, why can't the DCC issue out everybody a free testing kit that's at your home, that's mobile, that you test it right there, and the minute you turn it on, the test results print out for you and go automatically through your metric.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys, figure this shit out. You know what I mean?
So, like, what you're telling me is, like, they take it, they do their own testing, and the farmer's, like, not even there?
Yes, ma'am.
To witness it?
Yes, ma'am. And then, if it doesn't pass, they hook me on this, man. There was this cat that had a distributorship, and he's down from Santa Barbara, and he's like, okay, and I was green, you know what I mean? I'm like, brand new, freshly legal, completely, totally uncomfortable with it, but I'm giving this system to try to see, how can this really work out? Let me see. So the guy says to me, hey, we want to pick up all of your trim, but it has to test over 10 point something, or 9 point something. So I'm saying to myself, oh yeah, okay, I don't care. You know what I mean? Kind of good. And then he says, but if it doesn't pass the test, you have to pay for half of the test. So me, I know my stuff is going to pass. I got no problem at all with it, right? So I send it off, and all of a sudden, about 10 days later, I'm told my stuff didn't pass, and I get a bill for $500. Now, why should a farmer, a small farmer, pay, and that was supposed to be half, $500 for a test of cannabis trim when they only want to pay you $25 a pound? Do the math on that. You know, come on. There needs to be a set system on what uh, a distributor or even a person can pay for your product. And when the price is so low, no farmer is going to want to pay a $300 or a $500 test for a $25 pound. It makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't math out. You know what I mean? And so then a lot of farmers are like, I ain't paying for testing nothing. And then come to find out, my stuff passed 100%, and it was the wrong product under the wrong name when they went to test it. And the only reason why I found out is because I did some investigative skills, and when he sent me the copy of the test along with the bill, I kind of went around the back door to the lab to find out what the product was, what the name was, and everything. And all that was turned backwards, and it wasn't accurate, but I had sent the check off and said to myself, this shit is only going to happen to me one time. Just one time. And then from here on out, I'm on the case. You know, I got my eyes out, I got my ears out, and I'm paying attention. And with anybody asking me to pay for half of the test if it doesn't pass, the answer is going to be, I pass, thank you. You either pay for the test or don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I took a hit, but you know, all this is a learning lesson. And then not for nothing, it's even a lesson for the people who are making up all these crazy, ridiculous laws. And people got way, 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 way too thirsty for the money when they decided to come up with all these goddamn fantasy taxes.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the people that created the laws don't smoke cannabis.
No.
Like,
And I think their spiritual relationship is separate from cannabis because it's a work related thing and it's not intertwined in their consciousness and their work.
because I've seen people work in cannabis, and then they'll like straight up tell you like, oh, I don't even smoke it, and I'm just like, like to me, it just like it shows you're not like.
You're not in the culture, you're not understanding it, and I'm going to co-sign that. If you're not getting high on your own supply, you don't need to be in the business. And if you've never been high before and you want a good, clean, top shelf product, or you want to create a top shelf category even, like the sky's the limit on this, then open up your mind, open up your spirit, connect, and get high on your farmer's supply.
Yeah.
And say, okay, let me see, how does this feel? You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
feel like you can ease, like, if you're truly gonna work around it, why not consume it? Like, not that I'm promoting it, but it's just like a question that I had, like, when I talk to people that work in it, but they don't consume it. To me, it kind of just doesn't make sense. It's just
Right.
like, how are you gonna? The only reason I started even being around cannabis is because I started smoking it, and I found like that I had. I was attracted to it. I had some type of genuine love towards it. But I did have a moment where I was abusing of it.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
I had to learn. I had to go through my stages where I abused of it. Now I learned, and it's more like a reward. I can control it now. And if I feel like I don't deserve it, I do not smoke. Because it's just, it can be a superpower, but yet it can be something that holds you back.
Right. It all depends on where you're at in your mental space.
Yeah.
And are you going through challenges? Are you in an era of like super self-confidence, super achieving your goals? Or is the life cycle in the universe testing you for anything and putting you up against testing your values?
Like if you're going into it saying, oh, this happened, I'm going to smoke, but you're still mad about it, Like that's where you should catch yourself and be like, do I even deserve this right now? No. It should be more like of a reward that you're just like, ooh, I had a really good day. I did this, I had a very productive day, so you reward yourself with like a joint.
Oh, I think that's beautiful.
I could just smoke a full joint, but
Me too. Me too. I think it's just in my mind because I'm already right now higher than 50 hippies,
Yeah.
and it feels wonderful. But when she passes me that, I'm still gonna take another puff.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes I sound in the videos. I feel like I sound lost, but I have it sounding one way in my mind. But when it comes out, it just comes out like, okay. But we're working on it. We're working on that.
Yeah, I see other podcasts too, and I know that ours seem a little bit more, I don't know, casual, but we kind of want to attract the watcher that normally doesn't watch podcasts, but that's interested in cannabis and interested in people who are in it with a knife and a fork, who are experienced and who are becoming more experienced in social media, which is my blue diamond. Thank you very much, darling.
What can you say was your first experience with cannabis? And that you're just like, this is my niche, I'm sticking with this.
Oh man, I was in high school at the park smoking with my girlfriend, and there was like a grove there, and I was like, wow, this is very relaxing. This is mind opening, and here I am, a little kid that's from a different culture and a different color and white Mayberry. Instead of waking up every day when I go to school dreading it, I feel like I kind of don't even really give a shit and it's okay to be me. And then after I had that realization, I'm like, hey man, this is something I think I can get into. I think when I graduate from high school, I might want to grow it because I'm in the Emerald Triangle, so it's, years and years and years of legacy growers. It's a way of life up here. And so it was very popular and much more expensive when I'm a kid. And so I was saying to myself, let me do this because I can get behind this, especially the way it made me kind of come out of my shell and realize my insecurities were just illusions.
Yeah. It made you more comfortable in the situation and place you were at.
Yeah, and kind of not really care what anybody thinks about me or about my color or about my size or anything. I don't really care. I could care less.
As a matter of fact, safe space on the go.
Yes, absolutely. The only thing I really, really care about is that I hear the spirit of the Most High God and I follow the direction without question and without fail and with a quickness. That's really all I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you're connected with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my first experience. Oh, and I think I was like 13.
Oh, you're young.
And I'm 150 now. So it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. And I've loved every minute of it. But I have gone through cycles where I was like, okay, this year it's going to be a 360-day spin dry. And to kind of like dry it all out and get out of the space if I think I'm abusing it or using it as a crutch. And then sometimes I'll do that with alcohol too. Sometimes I'll do that with meat. I tried to do that with cannabis, alcohol, and any red meat, and that was a task, man. I felt like, am I suffering? Let me see.
Yeah.
Am I enjoying this, or is this a fucking nightmare?
Like, was it hard for you to do your, like, tolerance breaks with?
Yes, the first 3 weeks, it was an absolute nightmare. I wanted to get high so bad, and I really, really craved it. And then after a while, I had noticed after about 3 months that I was actually more impatient when I was smoking too much weed for the same like suspect problem than when I wasn't smoking too much weed or smoking any weed at all. I was more patient. Yeah, and I was more clear about the scope of the issue and coming up with solutions to resolve whatever the issue is. Yeah.
It just gets you more of a, you stay in a relaxed space, then you go straight to like a panic, like, what do I do, and this and that.
Yeah.
And it just like calms you down, and you're just like, okay. You process it, you're just like, okay, we're gonna do it like this.
Right,
and it just like flows easily. The first time I ever like got high, It was with an edible.
Oh,
I had an
those things
edible.
wipe me out, man.
I had a Rice Krispie treat, and it was like 30 minutes. No, not even 30 minutes. It was like an hour before my mom got out of work. So I ate the edible, and like I didn't know how it was gonna kick in. Like I was just like, oh, it didn't hit me, so I ate another little piece. So because I was not feeling anything, and like 30 minutes later, I swear it feels like someone just hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah, you got shillelagh.
And then like the floor was going like this,
Oh,
and just
my
like
God.
I don't even know how I finished cleaning or anything. I was just like, what the hell? And I was so high that I ended up leaving to the gym with my dad and my grandpa because I was just like, I cannot be home. And I was just trying to act super normal. And I went to the gym and I was like in the sauna. And I was like, maybe if I go to the sauna, it'll calm down.
Oh, that would have freaked me out.
I was like trying to get it to go down, but like being inside the sauna was making it kind of calm down. And I was in there for a long time because the lady was just like, she finished her workout. She's like, honey, you're still in here. And I was just like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, man, I need a minute, lady. Give me a minute, lady.
I go home, I fall asleep. And the next day when I woke up, I still felt it.
Oh, yeah, that stuff is real. And you know, it all depends on like how you make it. So it could have been like they made it really, really strong.
Well, it was back in the day before, like, you know, the 10 milligram thing happened.
Oh, yeah.
So I know it was strong. And I had never even smoked in my life. And the next time I started smoking was when my hydronitis got so bad. I was in pain 24/7. I wouldn't do no pain medication. Like, I would I don't even know how I would do it now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't start smoking cannabis till, like, kind of more towards the end.
What do you mean? The end of your teens or the beginning of your 20s? The end of what?
My end of my teens, but, like, the end of, like, my journey with HS. Like,
oh,
the surgery.
The end of the journey with your disease.
Like, before I got
you.
Yeah, before I got to going, like, to UCSF.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started smoking. Like, when UCSF kind of, like, figured out, like, this and that.
Yeah, this is what's going on with you.
Yeah, but I saw that I liked it. But then I started abusing of it. I feel like I went into a very toxic time in my life.
Oh.
That I was just trying to, like, get my mind to forget anything that I was going through. So I would smoke. I would look forward to smoking. And that's when I would question, like, I would be smoking, and then I would be like, bitch, you're fucking up. Like, you don't deserve to be smoking right now. Like, you're fucking up. So I would kind of check myself, and that's when I kind of calmed down with it. I started getting myself out of that toxic situation.
Good.
And I started healing, and I started, like, I put myself boundaries. I put boundaries between myself and cannabis. And I just taught myself, like, it's more of a tool than how I was using it.
Yeah, it needs to be a crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use it way more of a tool. Absolutely. I'm glad that you kind of went through that journey. And then I might invite you to have another perception too. Mm-hmm. And that is, instead of being super hard on yourself that you're abusing it, you could say, I need to slow down on this, but I'm also not strung out on pills, which also isn't doing something to my digestive system, which I'll need another medication for, and sort of like wean off of it, but with love for yourself and recognition for the things that you're not doing, inclusive of trying to back off smoking so much. Mm-hmm. And I think that you can, I don't know, see yourself as more of a divine unit and not be so hard on yourself, because I think that human beings out here, sometimes we're our own worst critics. Mm-hmm. I myself included, and it's hard to get your mind around it sometimes. But remember, if you self-care, that's welfare, which will be wealthy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's how I saw it more. Like, I was more proud of myself that I was able to use it as, like, my little reward, my little tool that I work with to make me a little more creative.
Right.
Then when I was going through that stage where I felt like I was abusing it, I wanted to be in a state of mind where I wasn't paying attention to my reality.
Yeah, you were just in stone bliss.
Yeah. So I just, like, wanted to be, you know, in my own little world, you know, to not know my actual reality. So that's why cannabis was something I always stuck with. It's my niche. That's my thing, cannabis.
Right. And thank God for that, because now we have her dealing with all social media, everything. I barely text and I barely email. I mean, honestly, I'm not any of that on any of that stuff, social media stuff. But the good thing is, Rosie is, and she might hook me up with one of them so I can at least look from a distance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But back to the original subject, and that is buyers, um, lawmakers, politicians, investors. Let's come up with something that works for a small farmer, an Emerald Triangle small farmer who puts more love, time, care, attention into their product, and having to deal with a distributor who has tomfoolery in mind and just wants to really know where you live, who's not even really the distributor. That's not necessary. There's no reason why the 10,000 square foot and smaller farmers can't ship directly to other states that it's legal, or in California get it, and potentially lean up on all these regulations and let a person do exactly what hemp folks do. And hemp folks have that product all over the internet. They got their product, they're shipping it back and forth and doing everything. And really, it was a flaw in the system how hemp became legal, and why shouldn't cannabis be as legal? And especially a small farmer trying to make it out here. Allow us to have a website, man. Allow us to, sell it directly to the customer on the internet or at a farmer's market, or for me, my preference would be at a winery. You know, come on, man, free up the space.
Yeah, exactly.
Free up the space. It's legal, man. The shit is legal, and that probably ain't going away. It's probably going to become federally legal, and hopefully, the federal regulators kind of looking at the scope of a designed infrastructure can be thumbing around on YouTube or podcasts under the subject of cannabis, and they can. I'm sure probably I'm not the only farmer out here speaking up truth. And if I am, this is the truth, son of a guns. Yeah, it got really, really amazingly windy as soon as I said that. Truth slayer information. Small farmers don't need distributors who promise to pay and don't. And any and all small farmer out there, licensed or unlicensed, don't do any business with anybody who's going to promise to pay you later. Become a COD farm. Collect on delivery. That's the way it's been working for 100 years, and that's the way it successfully works. It doesn't put undue pressure on relationships, and you can actually foster really good, solid connection and relationships when there's not one person or the other person that's having the advantage. That it's even and it's level, and we both come to the playing field with amazing things to offer, proper money and proper product, and leave it at that. And when everybody goes away with the intention, I want to do that again. I want to work with that farmer again. It's smooth, it's easy, the product is worth it. I want to develop top shelf product. So let me go over here to this ranch, because I know that I know that I know it is the best that you can get. And I wouldn't be saying that if I hadn't entered the Emerald Cup and my own peers judging me and my team, and we came in second place. And I've been doing it for 30 years, but I have a grave proclivity to privacy, which might be a disability, but I'm working with it.
Zach, you're making it work.
I'm working with it.
But pretty much, they just kind of have to re-look at the system, how it's built out, because you think about it, it doesn't really make sense how they built the system in cannabis.
Yeah, it's just made for big, wealthy people, huge billionaire investors, just to become more rich.
Yeah.
But what they didn't do is check in with the universe. The universe created a plant like this, and it created it for the intention for it to mix with the human experience. Yeah. And for it to mix with the one's soul and mix with one's spirit. And then the intention is, give me what I'm meant to have, not too much and not too little, but what I'm meant to have. And then let it go to the people who are meant to have it. And a lot of times if you just let go and let the universe, the situation will come out way better than anything you planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm saying in your next restructure of the system, you know, you need to ditch distributors, tear that out, offer distributors something else that's permittable that they can promote in lieu of dissolving this whole distributors, especially for small farmers. But if you got farmers that are so big that they're equivalent to Coca-Cola or they're equivalent to, um, you know, Patron tequila, then yeah, you might need a distributor. But small farmers, we don't need no distributor, man.
Yes.
It makes our prices even lower.
Because that person has to get a cut from it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm like I said, but I am saying on the other part, there are some distributors out there, and there's one that I'm communicating with that I communicate with now that is a right-on dude, man. He's a super badass guy. The communication is flowing. He's understanding of everything. You can tell he's been through some shit because he's, you know, crossing his T's and dotting his I's and making double sure no one's going to burn him. So he's been through some stuff and learned the hard way. And so he's easy to work with. He doesn't require, you have to have X many pounds of trim or pounds ready to go. He flows with you. Whenever you're ready, give us a call. We'll flow with you. We're coming up twice a week. So, and we're okay with COD. This is all we can afford. And so somebody like that, I think, is going to be super, super successful. I didn't have permission to say who he was, but I am telling you he's in California, and he's a badass cat, and I'm honored to work with you, friend.
Okay, you guys, we're going to wrap it up here. We hope you enjoyed this video. Tune in for the next episode every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So tune in to the next episode. We hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day full of love and light and everything bright.
Thank you,
Bye.
thank you, thank you. Big, many, many blessings, many, many successes. Farmers, let's have a beautiful flowing harvest together. And I wish you many successes on all your endeavors to market, sell, and produce and promote your small farmed, gracious, divine product. Bye, universe.